He disappeared, then texted back, "Now what?" You know that feeling? The slow fade, the silence, the confusion. One day you were talking, sharing moments, maybe even dreaming a little. Then nothing. No explanation. Just gone. You sat there wondering, did I do something wrong? Was it me? And just when you were starting to move on, ding, ding, your phone lights up. There he is. Again. And now you're asking, what do I do? What do I say? But the real question is how to respond to him. The real question is how to respond to yourself in this moment. Because this isn't just about a text. It's about what you allow back into your life. This is your chance to respond with clarity, not confusion. Confidence, not desperation. Let's break this down. First, why did he disappear? People vanish for 1,000 reasons. Fear of commitment, distraction, immaturity, emotional unavailability. But whatever the reason, it had nothing to do with your worth. Stop tying your value to his inconsistency. Second, why is he back now? Maybe he's lonely. Maybe things didn't work out elsewhere. Maybe he remembered your energy. But here's what matters. Is he bringing something different, or is it more of the same? If he's back just to circle around and check if you're still an option, your job isn't to entertain, it's to elevate. You're not a pit stop. You're not the just-in-case girl. You're the destination. You don't chase clarity from someone who created confusion. So, when you respond, if you choose to respond, do it from a place of strength. Something simple like, "Hey, it's been a while. What made you reach out?" This puts the ball in his court and sets a tone. I noticed you disappeared. I'm not pretending it didn't happen. Now, watch what he does. If he dodges accountability, gives vague excuses, or shows no intention to rebuild, then that text was never about you. It was about him needing validation. But if he steps up, takes ownership, and shows consistent effort, then maybe, just maybe, it's worth seeing where it goes, but only if his actions match his words. This is your moment to make a decision based on your peace, not your emotions. The person who ghosts you and comes back isn't inherently wrong, but what they do next tells you everything about whether they've grown or if they're just repeating a pattern. You're not the same person who waited for that text. So don't reply like her. When someone reappears after disappearing, it can feel like a strange kind of validation. Your phone lights up, your heart skips a beat, and you find yourself thinking, he came back. Maybe he realized what he lost. It's tempting to see his return as a compliment, as proof that you meant more than you thought. But the truth is, someone's return after disappearing isn't necessarily about you. More often than not, it has everything to do with them. His decision to ghost you wasn't a reflection of your value, and his decision to come back isn't a confirmation of it either. That's where many people get caught, in believing that a man returning means they've won. That he's finally come to his senses, that they were enough after all. But let's be clear, someone reaching out after going silent isn't some golden badge of your worth. It's a situation that calls for clarity, not celebration. It's important to separate your self-worth from his sudden reappearance. Just because he disappeared doesn't mean you did something wrong. Just because he's texting now doesn't mean he's right. People come back into your life for many reasons. Comfort, curiosity, convenience. But none of those are solid foundations for a meaningful connection. If someone couldn't give you consistency the first time, what makes them capable of it now? It's a question worth asking, not from bitterness, but from awareness. You deserve more than someone who sees your value only after disappearing. You deserve someone who never loses sight of it in the first place. The hardest thing to do in moments like this is to not react emotionally, not to get swept up in the moment. That text may feel like closure or a second chance, but if you're not grounded, it can reopen a wound that barely healed. Remind yourself that your life continued while he was gone. You adapted, you grew, you healed. That growth shouldn't be undone just because someone remembered your name again. You're not here to reward inconsistency with access. You're not here to be impressed by low-effort attempts that don't honor your value. So when he texts you after disappearing, don't see it as proof that he finally realized how amazing you are. See it as a moment to prove to yourself how much you've evolved. That text isn't a compliment, it's a mirror. It reflects your progress, your standards, and your boundaries. Whether you respond or not isn't about playing games. It's about honoring the peace you've created in his absence. You don't need to be angry. You don't need to be rude. You simply need to stay rooted in the truth. His return doesn't define your value. You already did that by growing beyond him. When someone who ghosted you suddenly returns, it's easy to let emotions override logic. There's a part of you that may feel hopeful, wondering if things will be different this time. But before you respond, it's crucial to pause and ask the right question. Why is he back now? Not why you want him to be back, or what could happen if you give him another chance, but why now? People don't reappear in your life randomly. Most of the time, it's not a grand romantic realization. It's something far more ordinary. Maybe he's bored. Maybe he's lonely. Maybe things didn't work out with someone else and he's circling back. That doesn't mean you weren't meaningful to him, but it does mean his return likely has more to do with his current situation than with any deep shift in how he sees you. When someone truly values you, they don't need to lose you to recognize it. They act with consistency. They show up even when things aren't easy. But someone who disappears at the first sign of vulnerability or emotional depth, only to return once it's convenient for them again, isn't showing emotional maturity. They're showing a pattern. If you don't question their motives, you might mistake their sudden reappearance for growth when it's really just habit. This is where so many people slip. They want the connection so badly, or they miss the feeling that person gave them, that they ignore the obvious signs. They accept vague messages like "hey" or "what's up" and interpret them as a sincere effort to reconnect. But effort isn't sending a two-word text. Effort is showing up with clarity, with purpose, and with an understanding that something was broken, and it can't be fixed with casual small talk. If someone hasn't acknowledged their absence or taken responsibility for it, that's a red flag, not a restart. It's tempting to romanticize their return, to believe they've been thinking about you the whole time. But nostalgia isn't the same as change. Missed connections don't automatically become right the second time around, unless the person returning is bringing something genuinely different. That includes better communication, emotional availability, and a willingness to be vulnerable and real. Otherwise, what you're walking back into is just a recycled version of what already didn't work. So ask yourself, not from a place of hope, but from a place of truth, what is he really offering this time? Is he stepping back in with clarity and consistency, or is he just dipping his toes in to see if you're still emotionally available? People show you their intentions, not through words, but through patterns. Look at his energy, look at how he speaks, look at how he shows up. That will tell you everything you need to know about whether his return means something or nothing at all. When someone who vanished suddenly comes back into your life, one of the most important things you can do is match their energy. That doesn't mean playing games or copying their behavior in a petty way. It means responding in alignment with how much genuine effort they are putting into reconnecting. It's a way of protecting your peace, showing self-respect, and creating a balanced emotional exchange. If they send a half-hearted message like, "hey," or "what's up," that's not an invitation to pour your heart out or reignite emotional intimacy. It's a test. If they ghosted for days, weeks, or months, and you instantly respond with warmth, enthusiasm, and forgiveness, they learn that they can disappear without consequences. But if you slow down, stay measured, and respond with calm, self-assured energy, you send a different message. I've moved on, and I'm not here for breadcrumbs. Matching energy doesn't mean being cold or distant, it means being intentional. If the message is vague, you don't need to overanalyze it or compensate with emotional depth. You don't owe them that. If they come back with something thoughtful, if they acknowledge the gap, take ownership, and express real interest, then you can meet them at that level. But that only works if you're seeing sincerity and consistency. One good message isn't enough. It has to be backed by action, by presence, by accountability. The danger in overinvesting too quickly is that it resets the dynamic in their favor. They're the one who disappeared, yet suddenly you're the one trying to make things work. That's backward. Let them earn their way back into your emotional space. Let them show they're willing to do more than just send a random text. Matching energy keeps you grounded. It allows you to observe instead of react, to evaluate instead of chase. This doesn't just protect you emotionally, it builds attraction from the right kind of person. People who are serious and emotionally mature will respond well to you having boundaries. They'll respect that you're not rushing in just because they reached out. They'll recognize that you value your own time. And if they want to be part of your life again, they have to bring more than minimal effort. On the other hand, if they're only back for attention or validation, matching their energy will reveal that very quickly.